Under the same moon, we share the love, embracing the differences like hand in glove. Spreading peace and joy, it's a beautiful sight. Together we shine in each other's light. And now do we stand in love's pure might, watching the world share in love and light. Peaceful flag, colors of harmony, painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might.
Good evening and welcome to the Legal Lowdown. I'm your host, along with Calvin Johnson, the criminal defense attorney, and tonight we're addressing a story out of Minneapolis that has shaken the public and raised urgent legal questions nationwide. Why did that happen? What caused it? Is this ICE situation going too far? These are some of the questions that have arisen, and people want to know the answers. Who could answer these questions better than a criminal defense attorney? In fact, today, Calvin Johnson came on the show right from court. It doesn't get any better than that. I'm so happy to bring him on the show. Welcome in to Calvin Johnson. Welcome in.
Man, what's going on, Mel? Hey, we had a lot happen today. You had the situation in Minneapolis, and I'm going to tell you, man, that was wild to watch somebody lose their life, unfortunately, to watch what happened today, and to understand that there's going to be a lot of situations legally that come out of this situation with some serious ramifications.
Absolutely. What do you think in regards to the fact that initially everybody thought the person would be Hispanic, and now the narrative has changed because they figured it out that she wasn't? Why does that have to be the case with these, when every incident happened?
Well, they want to see, for the most part, what the narrative is going to be. And you know how that works, Mel. If it's somebody brown to the left, they're definitely going to amplify it. And to the right, they're going to try to amplify because they're going to try to say, see what I'm talking about, seeing how we don't need them over here. See, they're here illegal. See, those are the kinds of things that people want to do nowadays. It's all about the narrative. It's all about feeding into a specific group, feeding into a specific narrative. And it's very, very unfortunate that this happened.
All right, let's get to it. I want to show you the videos from two different angles and get your whole legal breakdown, get the lowdown. All right.
Yes.
All right, let's get to it. So this is the first one, and this is the officer that allegedly took her life. So he'll be the first person in the frame.
In America, ICE is shooting innocent women in the head. End this bullshit now. Is this a police state run by hate? America is guilty.com.
So that's the officer?
Yes.
Shame!
So here's the lady in the car for those that are first time seeing this. The lady that lost her life is sitting there. These two ICE agents walk up on her. One tries to open the door.
No! Shame!
The officer standing in front of the vehicle is the one that took her life. Go ahead, Calvin.
And that's just when you think about it. Now, I'm going to tell you, anytime there is a traffic stop, typically you have trained policemen. These guys are not really trained policemen. As you notice how they walk up to the car, there's not really what we would say probable cause or reasonable suspicion to even walk up to this particular vehicle. And that's one of the things that we are concerned about when it comes to training these so-called ICE agents. And see, that's where we have these problems. You got to be extremely careful when that kind of stuff happens, and people are concerned about that.
Okay, so she proceeds. By this time, she's been shot potentially 3 times, and we're going to see her continue to drive until she have a wreck.
Oh my fucking god! What the fuck? What?
So you heard her impact with the neighbors' cars or what have you.
Mm-hmm. And you,
Okay. All right. Now let's listen to the interaction after this occurs.
What the fuck? You just fucking. What the fuck did you do? You are fucking criminals! You're fucking criminals! What the fuck? What the fuck?
Okay, so now we're going to look at it from a different angle, different camera that's going to reveal the shots more clear.
yes.
Get the fuck out of our neighborhood.
You heard the final crash. Was that 2 shots or 3? I couldn't decipher. Right? Are you able to hear me? Calvin, can you hear me? Okay, I guess we're having some sound issue. Okay, I guess we're having a sound issue. Calvin, can you hear me or no? Okay, let's see. Can you hear me now? Are you able to hear me? All right, so we're having some technical difficulty there. All right, so let's see. We're going to try to fix this and see if he can come back in. All right, can you hear me now? You still can't hear me? Okay, so you have to leave out and come back in. All right, so we're going to try to fix this in the meantime. So you guys got a chance to see the video of what happened today. It's such a terrible situation. I'm going to go through a few of the comments. I see you guys have some things to say here. Pretty Ting says, out of all the parts of the body, why was the woman in Minnesota shot in the head? What a sad instance. That's a great question from you. Stella says, like, share, and subscribe, and turn on your notifications to be notified for upcoming shows. We're waiting for Calvin. Can you guys hear me okay? I should be asking that question to make sure that the issue is not on my end. What do you say? What say ye? Can you guys hear me fine? Or was it Calvin? I guess you guys can't hear me? No? So there's no sound. Okay, so you guys can hear me. Thank you, Pretty Tings, for that. I appreciate that. So evidently the issue was with Calvin. We're going to wait for him to come back in. Lots of Wiggle says, MAGA, such a Christ-like and loving cult. Thanks for such a peaceful and great year. Okay, so he's saying MAGA is the great cult. You know, actually, MAGA identifies with Christianity. It's pretty much synonymous at this point. They identify as Christians. Okay, Pretty Ting says horrible when it comes to the video. All right, we have Lewis in the building. Lewis says, so you need training to evaluate facts and evidence. Okay, Calvin is back. Let's get back to it here. All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, great. We can rock and roll. Okay, so what did you think about that video?
You know, this is what I'll tell you, Mel. Very, very unfortunate, especially when you see the way that everything happened. Now, if the lady had been driving directly at the officer, it would have been one thing. But in this video, you see her kind of driving away from the officer. You don't really see her really aiming her car at the officer. You see that basically she's trying to flee the situation. And it becomes extremely disappointing when you look and you see that it seems like as she is driving away, you see shots fired. And literally it you know, from what the one of the people said that I saw an interview on, it's like he blew this lady's head off. You know, and that's what literally what that person in the interview was saying. They said it was blood everywhere. So this is going to be very, very, very interesting because you have two different issues, right? Number one, you have the ICE officers who are federal agents inside of a state in a city like Minnesota, Minneapolis, Minnesota, right? So the local and or state authorities could attempt to charge these ICE officers with a crime. What happens if that happens is the ICE officers are allowed, the law basically allows them to move the case from Minnesota State Court to a federal court. However, if they are found guilty at the federal level and Trump tries to pardon them, he won't be able to because they would be being charged in a federal court for a state crime. And the only way that they could get pardoned is through Minnesota. As you know, Trump cannot pardon someone of a state crime. He can only pardon them of a federal crime. Now, what the officers are going to try to use is they're going to try to use their immunity, number one, because they're law enforcement officers. But what they're also going to try to use is this thing in the Constitution called the Supremacy Clause. The Supremacy Clause is basically what I just explained to you. If you're charging a federal official in a state court, that federal official has the right to be able to move that case. Like the officers, they'll be able to move the case actually to federal court. However, in the event of a conviction, they cannot get a pardon from the president because it's basically a state conviction in a federal court. So that's the differences that you have when you have a situation like this. And this is going to get very interesting because I am thinking, from what I saw from the mayor of Minnesota, that he is extremely upset. He basically used cuss words, said he wanted them to F out of his city. So I think that that particular city and county will probably attempt to charge those federal agents with something. And this is going to get extremely messy.
Can police officers shoot at civilians just for driving off?
They cannot. But the argument that the police officers are going to make, they're going to say that they were in fear for their life because they had their body or hand inside the vehicle, and they were fearing that they were afraid of being ran over. But I don't think in this situation that that's going to fly, because when I'm watching the tape, you can clearly see the lady is trying to drive away. They're going to try to say that the lady was basically trying to run over their ICE officers. And I'm going to tell you, that's going to be a very questionable defense from these ICE officers based on what I saw. It seemed like, for all intents and purposes, that lady was driving away, trying to get away from those particular ICE officers.
Right. Did you notice in the street, it seemed like people were trying to inhibit the ICE officers? I think this is what set the mood to go left.
Yeah, I think it is. But once again, Mel, I've talked to you about this, and I've talked to other people about this, especially here in Dallas. Dallas, they tried to come down to Dallas and they tried to offer their services, and they wanted to work in coordination with the Dallas Police Department, but the police chief declined. And one of the reasons he declined is because of safety, right? You have ICE officers going to be leading an investigation in an urban area, in a city area where when you really, really think about it, how well do they know Minnesota, the Minnesota people and the Minnesota streets in an urban area, to be able to go out there and take out an operation like that. That is extremely dangerous. In addition to that, those ICE agents are not trained to really train well enough to really deal with these kinds of apprehensions and operations in an urban environment. And so that's why we have a host of problems when you have a situation like this. Officers cannot just randomly shoot people like this and expect immunity and expect that they're going to be able to walk away just with a self-defense claim. The concern that we have here is that they're going to try to say that they were in fear for their life and that they feared that this lady was going to run them over. But when I look at this video, I do not see it that way.
What do you think about Donald Trump being involved and giving his point of view?
Once again, this is why you have to have good leadership. And I try to tell people all of the time, he treats half of the country like they're his enemy. And when you have something like this, people are not just going to sit by and take it. And when I say sit by and take it, he doesn't have empathy for the people who got shot or got hurt. He really tries to explain away the ability of the power of the right that he has as a president to be able to carry out the operations that he has directed these people to carry out. And when people start getting killed, things are going to go left. Because I am going to tell you, when something like this happens, what do you think is going to happen the next time there's a large ICE operation in a large major city? What do you think is going to happen? People are not going to stand by and just say, they're ICE, they're federal officers, we're just going to let them in and let them do what they want. And then when you have an ICE officer walk up on you from now on, what are you going to think about? Let's say you're a citizen and they're trying to pull you over and they're trying to detain you and you don't want to deal with them and you try to drive away and you see what happened to this lady. This is a concern that we have now. Will people continue to take this kind of tyranny in terms of dealing with law enforcement, in terms of having Mr. Trump decide that this is the way that he's going to do things and he's going to do things in such a very haphazard way? I don't think people are going to be okay with that. It's not safe for citizens. It's not safe for ICE officers. It's not safe for innocent bystanders standing out there when these kind of things are happening. We have a problem in America right now. And that problem is we have poor leadership and we need to do a better job of figuring out how we're going to get things like this taken care of and how is this administration going to move forward with this happening and them trying to explain it away. The general public is not trying to hear what they're selling right now. And I'm extremely concerned about this kind of behavior out in the streets of an open urban area.
Thank you so much for breaking it down for us. We'd like to ask everybody to hit the like button, share, and subscribe. And Calvin, could you tell everyone what you do?
I am a practicing attorney in the state of Texas. I'm in Dallas, but I have been practicing state, local, and federal criminal law for the last 24, almost 25 years. And I've handled cases at all levels, all different kinds of cases. I have a degree in political science and history from Howard Payne University and a Juris Doctorate from the great St. Mary's University School of Law down in San Antonio, Texas. And I'm going to tell you, me and Mel have been doing this now for about 6 to 8 months, the weekly legal review. We are going to expand what we're doing. We have a show 6 p.m. Sunday night, Texas time, 7 p.m. New York time. But through the week, we're going to be popping on and handling hot topics, giving you the skinny on what's happening, helping you understand how to break things down when you have something that happened like it did in Minnesota today. We want to be your number one source for legal situations and legal advice and legal knowledge when it comes to these types of things that are happening in real time. So me and Mel are going to pop on, not just on Sundays, but once or twice during the week. When something happens, we're going to pop on and we're going to give you some information for you to ponder and give you some information so you can understand what's happening, what your legal rights are, and what are some of the things you need to think about.
All right. Thank you very much. I want to switch gears a little bit in regards to, as you know, I was in court on Monday with Maduro.
Yes.
I want to ask you a question. They had, when they brought him in, it seems like they had so many DEA officers everywhere on every floor. Have you ever seen that before?
I had not. What I'm figuring is they want to make sure that that area is secure. He is a leader of a foreign government. In addition to that, there was probably a lot of officers in the DEA operation to extract him. And a lot of those guys probably have a lot of information about what was going on with him, where he was at, but they're probably adding additional security to make sure that nothing goes left inside of these courthouses. Because you have to truly understand, they literally, I say kidnap, but they literally kidnapped a leader of a foreign country and brought him to America.
When he stood up to plea whether he was guilty or not, he did say that. He says, I'm the president of Venezuela, and I was kidnapped from my home on Saturday, and I'm a prisoner of war. What do you think in regards to that? A lot of people feel like he was kidnapped. He's saying that, but is that really so?
Man, when you look at what happened, I am extremely concerned about this behavior from our president to go and grab a leader in a foreign land that is a president, bring him from his country all the way to America, and to put these kind of charges on him. Now, they may have plenty of ability to be able to show where they were concerned about his interaction with drug traffickers and his allowing those type things to happen. But we need to understand everybody is not going to let you do that. In America, we have been kind of shielded from the reality of what happens if somebody strikes back because we think everybody is afraid of us. But when you go into a foreign land and you take a leader and you try to bring them to your country to try them in a situation like that, number one, that's dangerous. Number two, that sets a precedent. Number three, what's going to happen when one of those leaders decides, you know what, I'm not going to let you do me like that. And if you do me that way, what if I get my hands on a nuclear weapon? What if I get my hands on something to where I can do something if I am captured? This is a very, very dangerous and telling and dark time in America, and we need to be extremely careful about our behaviors when we're dealing with foreign leaders.
Russia and China are saying that they want him released immediately. Do you think they will escalate to try to have him released, or will he have to just go through the system?
I don't think they're going to do that. What I think is going to happen is they're going to apply all the pressure they can on America in other ways. Whatever interests we have in China, they're going to pressure those. And you have to understand there are a lot of American companies in China. There's some American companies in Russia. What do you think is going to happen? You think they're just going to let them stay there and make their money and just walk away with their money? What if they start seizing those assets? What if they start taking control of those companies and taking those assets away from those people who own American companies that do business in China, American companies who do business in Russia or Russia-controlled areas? What do you think China's going to do with Taiwan now that this has happened? People need to understand, when you have a domino like this that falls, it's going to knock the whole domino house down, and we got to be extremely careful about that.
Okay. Pretty Tings had said, did he have to shoot her in the head?
Once again, I don't think he had to shoot her at all. And to show, first of all, it was a woman. And for all intents and purposes, I think she got her head blown off. I want you to think about that a second. In America, in an area that's about the fifth or sixth largest metropolitan area in the United States, Minneapolis, Minnesota, an ICE officer literally blew somebody's head off today. And you got a lot of people, a lot of citizens, a lot of people. I'm not even just talking about people that are anti-ICE. I'm just talking about people saying, whoa, wait a minute. This is not what we voted for. This is not what we wanted to do. This is not what I voted for. Even if I didn't vote for Kamala and I voted for Trump, this is not what I voted for. And that's what a lot of people are saying. And these are some of Trump's own supporters. And so this is extremely, extremely concerning. It's going to be hard to justify that her head had to be blown off because they were afraid for their lives. And it looks like there were 3 shots fired. And my question to you is, if you had to fire 3 shots and the first one hit her in the head, then why you got to fire 2 more times? I can only imagine how that looked.
Man,
that was savage. Things like what's happened today, they happen in third world countries. We cannot desensitize ourselves to what just happened. This is very, very, very bad, Mel. Very bad.
wow. Pretty Ting says once she began driving away, they were supposed to move back.
That's what I thought too as well. Once she began driving away, they were supposed to move back. They could have moved back. She's driving away. She's not driving at them. And I'm going to tell you, for people that come on here that are Trump supporters, that try to go in and say this and that, oh, and Obama supported ICE and this and that. Let me explain something to you. Under Obama, did a lady get her head blown off while driving away? Quit trying to conflate Obama, Trump, Biden narrative. This is not what this is about. This is about human decency. A lady got her head blown off today in an immigration operation. Think about that for a minute. This has nothing to do with Obama, Trump, Biden, all of those political arguments. This is a human argument. This is wrong. Point blank. Say whatever you want to say. If you want to come on this channel and you want to make excuses for the current president, then you go right ahead. But this is wrong. A lady should not have lost her life behind this. And as I'm looking at our comments, poor leadership is in blue states. Poor leadership is this and that. I'm going to explain to you. This is not a game. This is beyond politics. Whether you are a Democrat or Republican, this is beyond that. It's not going to be a red or blue state thing when these ICE agents go to these places and these folks see what just happened today. They're not going to sit back and have political arguments with you. They're not going to sit back and watch people make excuses for what current leadership just did. You need to be extremely careful about what just happened, because this is not going to be an easy thing. This is not a political thing. This is a human thing. And it's extremely disappointing that in America, and even as I watch our comments, Mel, I don't want to go on a tangent, but even as I look at our comments, I have people coming on talking about red states, blue states, Trump, Obama, Biden. Man, this has nothing to do with that stuff. A lady driving away got her head. Think about that for a minute.
Terrible.
And if you don't have the level of decency to respect that, I'm not going to argue with you. But I will tell you one thing. The average American is not going to put up with that kind of behavior coming from a federal agency. The first obligation you have to yourself is to stay alive. Whether it's a federal agent coming at you, whether it's somebody else coming at you, you have an obligation yourself to make sure that you stay alive. And that's all I'm going to say about that. And that's very, very unfortunate when you have these kinds of things happen, because people are not going to respect the rule of law. They're not going to respect the federal agents. They're not going to respect ICE. When you do have ICE and you need ICE to do something, people are not going to just sit back and even let them do their jobs anymore based on what they saw today. This country is going to descend into chaos. And if you want to argue walls, Kamala, Trump, blue, red, this is beyond that. If you're trying to make those arguments, and this is beyond that. And Mel, do you know if that lady was a citizen or not?
She was a regular white lady, I would imagine so. She wasn't Hispanic like most people thought so.
Once again, you just blew, for all intents and purposes, an American citizen's head off in the middle of one of its largest metropolitan areas.
You know, when you hear the word ICE, people assume that the lady was Hispanic, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then as the facts come out, they realize she wasn't.
Once again, it's very, very unfortunate. People want to rush to a narrative. Even look at our comment section today, Mel. Our comment section is filled with people trying to argue all violent criminals, it was illegal, all it was this and all it was that. It's a sad place where when another human being literally gets their head blown off, and the first person or the first thing that somebody wants to do is come to YouTube on our channel and argue for the other side just because they're following the person that they voted for. We have lost our sense of decency in America, where your politics decide your principles, where your level of decency is going to be decided by who you voted for. And it's just a shame.
Right. Jay
Shame.
says Obama was doing the same thing.
Show me, whoever made that comment, show me where under Obama, an ICE agent blew a citizen's head off in the middle of a major city. Answer that for me. And people are making comments. They've done it in Panama, Libya, etc., etc., etc. No, I'm not talking about Panama. I'm not talking about Libya. I'm talking about America. I'm talking about middle America. I'm talking about the 5th or 6th largest metropolitan area, actually about the 6th or 7th largest metropolitan. I want to say that correct. Minneapolis, St. Paul is probably about the 7th largest metropolitan area in the United States. And that happened to an American citizen on American soil. I'm not talking about Libya. I'm not talking about Cuba. I'm not talking about Iran or Iraq. I'm talking about in America. And it is a shame that this happened today.
Okay. Candyman says pictures and video shows that she hit the ICE agent with her car before he shot her.
Man, we watched the video, right?
Oh, yeah.
You don't get to blow somebody's head off if they're driving away. That's just my opinion. And it's very, very disappointing that that happened. I'm gonna see what it says. Many women have been shot by officers for trying to kill cops with their cars. You know what I'm gonna tell you? Once again, this is what America has been reduced to. But I will tell you right now, moving forward, when you have an ICE agent walk up on you, I want you to think about what the average American citizen is going to think about them. And this thing could go left very, very fast. Somebody loses their life like that, this whole country could descend into some kind of chaos and lack order moving forward. So it's extremely, extremely important that we understand what just happened. And once again, if you look in the comment section, and I'm talking to you in the comment section, it's not about politics, bruh. It's not about politics. It's not about Kamala, Biden. It's not about MAGA. An American citizen got their head blown off in a major city in America by somebody doing immigration enforcement.
Wow.
Whew.
Okay. Pretty Ting says you're laying out the points. You feel like she's in court. All right.
I'm laying out points because when you look at it, Mel, like, and people try to, oh, you're a blue guy, you're a Democrat, you're a demo rat, and all this. This is not about that, man. And Mel, you know what? We do this show every week, and I try to not diss or shade one side or the other too much. But my God, there's a thing called common decency, and when somebody loses their life, and instead of having empathy for them, your major concern is coming on the internet and arguing for the guy you voted for just because you voted for the guy. You have no empathy for that lady losing her life. And let's be honest, it's not even just about the lady losing her life. These ICE agents are being put in impossible situations as well. They are not trained to properly deal with these kind of conflicts in major urban area cities. This should not be happening. This is a failure from the top to the bottom. Period. I'll tell you, here in Dallas, Texas, they offered their services to come down here, but they wanted to put quotas on the police department on how many people should be arrested. Our new police chief down here, thank God, he declined to work with ICE, and they offered him $25 million. They won't give us $25 million here in Dallas, Texas. And we declined because we understand what it is. You cannot unleash a few thousand officers in a city where, and from what I'm told, that they have unleashed 2,000 ICE officers in Minnesota. That's 3 to 4 times larger than the entire police force that's in Minnesota. So think about that for a minute. There are 3 times as many ICE officers right now in Minnesota than there are police officers. You cannot unleash that level of folks onto a city that size and expect something good to happen. That's foolish.
Some people are blaming the Somalians for what happened today.
A Somalian did not blow that lady's head off. An ICE agent doing immigration enforcement did. And I want people to understand this is not just about that lady dying. Any of these ICE agents that are out there doing their job, and the ones that even doing their jobs the right way, they're in danger because of this, because of what happened today. Any innocent bystander who happens to be on the street when an ICE operation is going down, they're in danger. If I'm on the street and the ICE operation is going down and I'm an American citizen, I didn't do anything. No, you can't talk to me. No, you can't ask me anything. No, you should not be pulling me over. We have rights. And I want you to think about all of this before you make your comments. Somebody died today. And they died in a horrific fashion. And it should not be happening in America.
Tube Steak says it's not beyond that. She refused orders, was blocking the road, tried to run the officer over.
If you see it that way, when we watch the video, she's driving away. She's driving away. In my opinion, the officer did not have to fire 3 times and blow that lady's head off. She was driving away. And if you want to justify that, then that's fine. But I'll tell you what, this is just the beginning. This thing is going to get ugly. This is a terrible, 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 terrible situation.
Virgil says, boom, stay away from ICE.
Once again, what do you think is going to happen the next time an ICE officer walks up on somebody?
Yeah, faint out of fear.
Think about it. And you got a culture right now where everybody got guns. The ICE agents got guns. I know down here in Texas, there are plenty of guns left and right. What do you think is going to happen when that happens? When they see a lady who got her head blown off. This is bad. This is really, 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 really bad.
Okay.
And I'm disappointed, and I should not be, but I'm disappointed in a lot of our citizens that they tried to make this a political argument type thing. This is a human decency thing.
Wow. Notice what John says. Government claims ICE innocent without a trial and without an investigation of murdering an American citizen.
And this is where it starts and this is where it stops. I want y'all to think about this. If you want to get back to politics and you want to get back to the rule of law, you want to get back to law and order, people in America are not going to stand by and let this go. They're not going to be able to sweep this under the rug. As I see the comments, don't attack law enforcement. Listen, everybody at times need law enforcement. Sometimes if you're in a bunch or you're in a certain situation, you want to make sure that if you call the police officers, that they're there to help you and they're there to save you. And they're there to provide a service, protect, and serve. But once again, when a citizen's head is blown off, this is really, 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 really bad. And it's all that blaming Biden and all that blaming Kamala and all that blaming Walls and the Somalis. No. We got a president, we got a government that's ran by the Republican Party right now. They have the House, they have the Senate, and they have the presidency, and they have the Supreme Court. And this happened. And I'm going to tell you, the rest of America is not going to treat this as a government doing their job. They're going to treat this as a government that's trying to, at this point, prey on them. And I'm not saying that the government is preying on them, but I'm telling you, a lot of people are going to treat it that way. And that's why we're in trouble.
Cavalier says he shot before she put in drive. It was in reverse. Okay.
And see, that's why I'm concerned. I look at that tape. He's on the side. He's not in direct path of the car from what I see. This is extremely, extremely, extremely disappointing. This is scary. This is scary. And so curious is, would the agent be found guilty in court of law? Is this a moral or legal offense? Let me break something down to you. He could get found guilty in a court of law. Minnesota can charge him. They can take it to federal court. A federal jury would hear it. The immunity might not work for this particular officer here based on what I saw on that tape. There is a good argument that it could maybe not work for him. But a federal jury would probably decide if it would, if the people in Minnesota decide to try this ICE officer. And in this situation, Trump cannot pardon him.
Okay. Jack says average American citizens don't block law enforcement.
Of course, they don't block law enforcement, but remember, you have to have probable cause or reasonable suspicion to walk up on somebody and try to detain them. Law enforcement cannot randomly detain people, question people, take people into custody. We have rights. And this is just very, very unfortunate. Sad day in America today, Mel. Sad.
Yes. Are we expecting the officers to be indicted?
I think probably from what I'm looking at, I think that the Minnesota, because they're Minnesota, you got to remember where they are. They're probably going to try to indict those officers in Minnesota. The supremacy clause will allow those officers to try to move that case to federal court if they're charged with a state crime. And a federal jury would hear it and decide what was going to happen. And if they get found guilty, Trump can't can't pardon them. So I want y'all to think about that. And this is why it's dangerous. As an ICE agent, you want to be able to do your job without worrying about if something goes left, am I going to be protected? If you do something like this in a state like Minnesota and they decide to charge you, the law says that the agents get to move the case to federal court and a federal jury gets to hear it. But if they are found guilty, then it's basically considered a state conviction and Trump can pardon them. And then what do you think is going to happen? Very, very sad situation, very dangerous situation. And there's so many ramifications about what just happened.
She hadn't been gone 2 hours of the incident before people started saying she was a terrorist.
Once again, you got people making these assumptions about the person who died in the car. They assume what race she was. When you look at the video, and that's one thing about America right now, and we got to always remember that. The cell phone cameras, the flock cameras, all of the cameras all over America. We're living in a different day. And we're living in a dangerous day. Because back in the day when something like this happened, maybe you don't get the view. Maybe you don't get somebody videotaping this. Now you get it in real time and real color, and you got several different angles you can watch this video from. And this is the dangerous part about something like this happening.
We're starting to see a lot of people, though, in harmony with the comment that's up. We're starting to see a lot of people try to impede the arrests by ICE, and it's leading to a lot of hostility, and we're seeing things like this happen. Do you think that because people are fighting back, the ICE are being more aggressive?
I think you got two things here. I think ICE is being a little more aggressive because people are fighting back, but I also think there are situations where ICE oversteps their bounds with some of their enforcement actions. There have been several situations where they're accosting American citizens. There was a situation about 2 or 3 weeks ago where they followed an Hispanic lady home. You're talking about 3 or 4 big men with masks covering their face. She's an American citizen. She literally ran home, ran in her house, and her husband came out and let them know, number one, she's an American citizen. And he told them to get off his property and to leave. But I want you to think about that. This is why doing things the way we're doing it. I'm not saying you can't enforce your immigration laws, but doing this with a poorly trained ICE administration and a very, very, very poor environment to enforce this in this type of area is something that we need to be extremely careful with, Mel. Extremely careful.
Right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I know this was a weekday and you have court tomorrow and so forth, but I really do appreciate it. Would you like to tell everyone how to contact you and give some closing remarks?
Yes, my name is Attorney Calvin D. Johnson. I can be reached in 3 ways: 214-565-5600. I can be reached at my website, theywon'tletmeout.com, or I can be reached at attorneycalvindjohnson@gmail.com. Listen, everyone, I will try to tell everybody. This is beyond politics. This is very unfortunate, regardless of whose side you fall on. An American citizen, for all intents and purposes, for what we know, lost their life today in a situation that probably should not have happened. We have to change what we're doing. I'm not saying you can't enforce the immigration laws, but it should not be a situation where an American citizen, number one, is in this situation, or even an ICE agent is even put in harm's way at all. But with the way we're doing things and the way that this administration has decided to enforce the immigration law and to do it with this organization and to do it in a way where somebody lost their lives, it's very, very unfortunate. And we're going to stay on top of this. So once again, me and Mel are going to be popping in a couple of times a week moving forward, on top of having our show on Sunday, 6 p.m. Texas time, 7 p.m. New York time. We want to be your place for all of the legal advice, and we want to rock out with you. Come on, talk to us. Even if I disagree with you, I will respect your opinion. But at the same time, We got to have some human decency and understand somebody lost their life today that shouldn't have. Thank you, Mel, and I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thanks for being on.
Different voices, but the same song. Building a world where we all belong. Kindness leading the way, breaking the chains. In the symphony of love, the thing remains. Embracing diversity, brighter days in sight. Watching the world sharing love and light. Hearts beating as one in our peaceful flight. Colors of harmony, painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might. Watching the world sharing love and light. Hearts beating as one in our peaceful flight. The colors of harmony, painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might.